You're tuned into the Power Station Energy 100 with myself, Elsa Bijibinyani, and we are busy with EconoChat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman right about now. For the past 2 weeks, we have been talking about liquidity, and the question remains, why is liquidity so high? But we will probably tap into it a bit, but we would like to touch on growth today. Where's the growth coming from, Mr. Daniel Steinman? First of all, welcome.
Thank you, Elsaby. It's very good to be here again. And hello to all my listeners. And I want to invite them that if they've got anything that they want to ask you or ask me, they must just send you a mail.
Yeah.
You know, and we will handle those questions and queries, one or two per session. Yeah. As the opportunity arises. But you're asking me, where will the growth come from?
Yeah.
Now, let's look at where the economy is standing currently. Now, you remember last time when I spoke about banking liquidity, I said it was at an all-time high. In the meantime, after we had our discussion, it went even higher. So last week, Thursday, it set a new all-time record, you know. And it was at 12.1 billion or 12.2 billion almost. That's unprecedented, you know. And I also made the remark, which is a little bit of my own opinion, that one of the reasons the liquidity is so high and remains so high, has been so high since about August last year, is because the private sector is not borrowing. So the money is flowing into the system, and the private sector is sitting back and looking to see which way the economy is going to go in 2023, this year and next year. So there's a whole lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty always undermines business confidence. And it means that companies do not go to their banks, they don't take up new loans, they don't acquire credit to invest for expansion.
Yeah.
So the picture that we see in the private sector is a stagnant picture. If we, there's one or two large projects going on, but it's not a healthy situation from the private sector point of view. You must have 25, 30, 35 big projects across the country running at any given time. Then you know that you are in for GDP growth of 3.5%, 4% maybe, which is good, you know. So you ask me, where will the growth come from? And I can tell you, I've got a fairly good idea. I may not know where the liquidity comes from. It's interesting that the Bank of Namibia says the liquidity comes from the Namibia Brewery Heineken sale, from that deal, and from diamond sales. And then when you look at foreign reserves, lo and behold, what is listed there as well as the reason for foreign reserves, which is incidentally also at the record high, 52 billion Namibia dollars.
That's a lot.
So it's unbelievable. That I can explain. That comes from the SACU transfers, the 3.2 billion, the first tranche that came in on the 9th of May, I believe. Now you must remember, this year we're going to get 17.9 billion from the SACU revenue pool. So that's a big chunk, you know. And in 20 and 21 and 22, our SACU income was down to about 14 point something billion for 3 years in a row. Then last year it shot up to almost 17, which brought a great deal of relief to us and was one of the reasons why the economy eventually grew by 4% when the Bank of Namibia was expecting it to only grow by about 2.7%. So last year, 2022's growth expectations exceeded, or growth, real growth exceeded all expectations that we had in the beginning or the first half of the year. Now we get back to the question, where will the growth come from? And if I have to sum that up in one word, it'll be resources.
Okay.
But like any good economist, I immediately want to qualify it that it will most probably be resources. And I see that you're chuckling there, Elsabe. People are always expecting, in terms of the economy, very clear-cut, modeled answers. And it's impossible because you're working with the future.
Yeah.
And I think it was in this program that I made the remark, you need a whole load full of modesty when you work with the future. Because if you don't approach the future from a modest outlook, you have to realize your own shortcomings, or the model that you use, the shortcomings there, or the whole system, or the lack of statistics, or whatever the reason is. If you don't handle the future with care, it tends to bite you back.
Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Let's end with that note. And once we come back, we will definitely continue this very interesting talk.